Lolita, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul. Lolita, the tip of the tongue taking a trip of 3 steps down the palate to tap at 3 on the teeth. Lolita. She was low, plain low in the morning, standing 4 feet 10 in one sock. She was Lola in slacks. She was Dolly at school. She was Dolores on the dotted line. But in my arms, she was always Lolita. So we're talking about Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I finally finished it, well, recently, and it's about Humbert. Humbert, who's a middle-aged man, and he falls in love with Dolores, a 12-year-old girl, aka Lolita. It's about his sexual exploits, seducing and abusing Lolita. I don't want to say more because I don't want to spoil it or ruin it, because it is a beautiful book. I was really scared going into it, but it is so beautiful. It is very beautifully written. There were some scenes, some paragraphs that I would read through that I would be like, holy shit, this is so messed up, but it is so beautiful. And I would go back and read it again because of how beautifully it was written, read it out loud so I can experience it once again. Those who haven't read Lolita are missing out. Some people don't want to start Lolita because of its dark subject, but it is a truly beautiful writing and should be read by every person alive. It's one of those writings that you read it and you think like, how could a human mind write this? What was truly disturbing about this book is that as I was reading through it, as I was reading the paragraphs, I started to sympathize with Humbert. I started to feel sorry for him, and then all of a sudden I would be like, hold on, why am I sympathizing with him? Why am I feeling bad for him? Why am I seeing him as the victim of a young seductress? And I think it's because the book was so well written that it just makes you sympathize with Humbert when clearly he's not the victim. One thing that was very odd is he described himself a lot. Humbert described himself a lot. He described himself as tall and dark and handsome, and I don't know what to believe. The first time he said it, I was like, okay, I believe you. Maybe you are tall, dark, and handsome. Second time he said it, I'm like, are we sure? Are we sure? The third time he said it, I was starting to lose hope if he even means what he's saying. But I realized I don't know if I should be believing him when he describes himself as not only tall, dark, and handsome, but also as resembling a movie star that Lolita seemed to be very fond of. When you find out why he's in jail, it's like, it sounds absurd. The reasons are absurd. And at that point, I did not know whether to even believe that everything he wanted to do with the girl, everything he wanted to do with Lolita, everything that happened with Lolita, was it even real, or was it just something that he wanted to happen? And I like that. I like having an unreliable narrator. I like having the question of whether it is real, is it true, or is it not. I like a book leaving me with questions. Well, most of the time. We don't really know a lot about Lolita because, well, she is written from Humbert's point of view, which we know, who we know is a unreliable narrator, so we can't really be sure of what actually happens or what Lolita really is like. I was searching up Lolita, and one of the best assessments I read was, While many stories require the reader to look past the ugliness to see its beauty, Lolita requires you to look past the beauty to see its ugliness. And I feel like it describes it amazingly. It describes the book perfectly. And the fact English is Nabokov's third language, and it is so beautifully written that wow. And the whole book is like a mixture of perverse and touching and beautiful, poetic. You should check it out. So I've actually been wanting to read this book for the longest time, ever since I first heard the first paragraph of this book in this one video.
Lolita, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul. Lolita, the tip of the tongue taking a trip of 3 steps down the palate to tap it 3 on the teeth. Lolita.
And I think that's it. It was a really short review, but I feel like I should actually be active on YouTube if I'm deciding to post on it. And this was my take on Lolita. I haven't mentioned all the points because I want to keep it vague so you guys can enjoy it on your own. Bye bye.